In our previous video, we had a theoretical discussion and understanding about what is web filter profile, right? As a part of security profiles, we have seen web filter profile theoretically. So in this video, let's understand the same practically in our lab. Okay. So if you see, this is the topology that we're going to take. So we have a LAN here, and the right side we have a WAN. Okay, as same as like in the previous topic, like how we did antivirus profile, right? So the same, like in order to perform the web based or a web filter profile, we need three things. One is like we need to have a valid security policy to allow a communication from this side, means from the LAN side to go to the WAN. It could be based on your zone, or it could be based on your interfaces, incoming interface and outgoing interface, whatever it is. So I'm just using the interface. Okay. So point number one, we need to have a valid security policy to allow communication from this side or the LAN to WAN. And point number two, we need to have an SSL inspection enabled. Okay. So that for even for HTTPS transactions, we need to perform it. Point number three, we need to understand and configure the web filter profile. And once we configure the web filter profile, we need to associate that web filter profile to our security policy. Okay, so these are all the things we need to do it. So, as you know, already we have a security policy to allow from LAN to WAN, and also we have done SSL inspection in the previous videos. So now let me go to FortiGate. As said, like this is the firewall policy that we are using in this section, that is allowing from LAN to WAN. And if you see, like we are allowing the incoming interface, if any traffic that is coming on the incoming interface, that's port 2, and if it's trying to go out through port 5, we are allowing it for any source to any destination, like all source to all destination, for all type of services. And we have set as the action item as hello or all right. And also we have a NAT enabled here, and this is for the outgoing traffic. So in the previous video, we understood about antivirus profile, right? So in this video, we are going to understand about web filter. Okay. So once you click here, this would automatically get activated. And as said in the previous video, like when we are understanding, when we have a theoretical discussion, right? We saw about this three profile. Okay. I mentioned that there are three profile, default profile that is part of web filter, right? So what we can do, like we can just go here to, either you can use any of these three, or you can either create here also. Okay. Let me show you like where it is. As you know, the security profile, navigate to security profile. So next to antivirus, go to web filter. Okay. So this is the place we need to configure any new web filter. So by default, there are three filters. Okay. I'll just show you the first one. And also, like I said earlier in the previous video, the theoretical discussion, either you can use this default, profiles, and also FortiGate allows us or giving us the privilege to customize this. Like if you want to make any changes to this profile, you can do it. Okay, there is no restrictions, regarding that. Even in the default profiles, you can make changes as per your requirement, and you can make use of it. All right. So let's just see what are the things that is available here, and then instead of using this default, let's create a custom, and I'll show you. Okay. So this is the name, and this is the comment for it. Like I said, maybe web filter profile has this one, like the FortiGate category based filters. Okay, by default it is enabled in the default profile. If you enable it, like they have already categorized it. Okay, like potentially liable. Okay, so for few things they set into monitor, for few they set into block. Like if you see this child sex abuse or terrorism, crypto mining, for these kind of a traffic, by default they set to block. It is a default action item set by this one. And adult related content also, like it is set to block. Okay, alcohol, tobacco, and all this kind of a transactions, it's set to block. And for a bandwidth consuming, like if you're trying to download any softwares or any freewares, it is set to allow. Okay, so basically it is set to allow. all right. And for file sharing, it is set to allow, and peer-to-peer file sharing, internet, radio, TV. So everything, all this category, like basically these are the categories. Okay. Under these categories, there are three subcategories. Okay. All right. And security risk, like again, these categories are blocked, like malicious websites. And you can also check, like if you can keep your cursor there, you can read about the descriptions, and you can check this information, like the site that hosts software that is covertly downloadable to a user's machine to collect information and monitor users activity. So basically a malicious kind of destinations. Okay, so all these categories are blocked, and physics sites are blocked. So whatever that seems to be a security risk, so that categories are set to block state. And general interest, it's personal. Okay, under this, like advertisement, trading, games, education, job search, everything, it's set to be allowed. Okay. And this is by default, it is set to allow. But in one of my previous video, like when I was doing for the recording, I just demonstrate on a block state. Okay, that's the reason we are still seeing um, that as a block. Like social networking is by default as enabled only. Okay, social networking is in allow only. So this is how it is. Like I said, this FortiGate filter is a feature that is used in the FortiGate firewall. They have already have a predefined categories. Okay, uh, and each categories has a action item set to it. It could be allow, it could be block, it could be monitor, warning, or authenticate. Like mostly you will never see authenticate. You will see either allow or block. Okay, so if you see here, like there are five different action items. Okay, allow means, as you know, that it's allowing the transactions. Okay, when it comes to monitor, it means it will allow to the destination, but it will log the informations. And block means it will block that request. When it comes to warning, actually it will block it, but it will give you a means basically it will give you a warning saying that it is not authorized or you are not supposed to reach it, but it will give you some time span, like um, for you can mention like for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 1 hour 2 hour, you can make them to access to the destination, but it will throw an error or warning message before they land into that page. We'll be seeing everything practically. And also authenticate, like if you have based on your user groups, you can allow only a specific users or a set of users to reach to specific destinations. Okay, that is also possible. So these are all the combination that is related to the FortiGuard category based filters. Means basically based on this filters, these are all the actions that we can do it. All right, again, if you come down, like there is an option to do override. So which means that, like say for example, you just did some means we also explore about this one as well. Like we'll be exploring about everything. I'm just giving you an overview. Like override means, say for example, you set to block one category, and if you're trying to access the same one, okay, so what happens, like basically it will say that it is blocked, but there is an option at the bottom says that, like if you want to override, you can select here. So if you click override, that would give you an exception, and you would means basically that particular user would given a another profile. Okay, and based on that profile, he would be seeing that content. Okay, I'll be showing like how does it work, everything. And also, like if you remember, we were talking about static URL filtering. Okay, if any destination that is not categorized in this, like say for example, there is some destination in the internet, but it's not categorized in whatever category it's mentioned in the FortiGate firewall. Still, you can create a custom or an static URL filters. You can just add this one, like URL filter. You can just enable it, and it will give you this particular option to add. Just click create. You can add any URL, like whatever it's like example.com or whatever it is. Just consider example.com. You want to perform some filter, you can add just example.com. And then like you can define an action, like either you need to exempt it and allow it, or block it, monitor, whatever it is, you can do it. Like see, it's telling like please input a valid URL like example.com or whatever it is. Okay, So this is for a custom like static URL entry, and it's for a block malicious URL discovery for by sandbox. Okay, basically it would be sending there. And if you remember, we were talking about content filters as well in the PPT. So this is what it is. You can just enable the content filter first and then create new. Then you can give the pattern here. Like first of all, you need to give the matching pattern type, like whether you want to go with a wildcard, means with everyone, everything, or any regular expression. You want to give any expression for it. Then you can give a pattern to it. Then you need to define the language for the same and define the action items to it. Okay. All right. So these are all about the, and this is about rating that particular URL. Okay. So based on that rating, you can redefine it. All right. So this is all about the default profile. So same like in the monitor, all like if you see in the default profile, we have seen few categories are set to block and few categories are set to allow, right? But in a monitor, all you will be seeing everything in monitor. Means basically the, if there is any request to any of this content, like even this kind of stuff like which is considered as potentially liable, okay, illegal kind of a stuff, proxies, terrorism, oh, everything like, but in the default one all these are set to blocked. But here in this profile monitor all, it is set to pass, but it will monitor whoever is doing it. Okay, it will monitor all the logs. So here in this profile, monitor all profile, you will see everything as a monitor only. Still, if you want to use this profile, and again if you want to change any of it, like that is also possible. Okay, instead of monitor, if you want to make any changes to this actions, you can make it. All right. So apart from that, the rest of it is same. The only difference is like all the actions are set to monitor here. It won't block anything by default unless until if you make it manually. And this is for Wi-Fi default. Okay, so this also has a same as a default one. All right. Now, I said, if you remember, I have told that there is an option to clone also. Say, for example, you don't want to disturb the default one, but you want to have this for a reference in future. But also, like you want to create a new one with reference to this one. So what you can do, just select this one and you can clone it. So when you clone it, you can clone the default one. Okay, maybe let's do that one. Like instead of creating a new, because if we are creating a new, like everything we need to do it, right? But what we do, like instead of creating a new profile, it's as the same, like whatever, either you create a new one or use this one. Okay, the only the actions may be different. Okay, you can modify it accordingly you want. Let me clone this one. Okay, I'll just clone this default one. I will create the name of web filter profile test. Okay. Okay. So this is the new profile that we have created now. If you open here, all right. So our profile is ready now. Like first, let's start from here. Okay. And so if you see, like the FortiGate categories based filter is enabled now. If you disable, okay, if you disable, then it won't work based on this categories and the actions that are set to that category. Okay. So if you want that to work, like you need to enable it. All right. Okay. So now let's do one thing. So these are all set to block. So all adult related things are set to block, right? So thing where we can try one. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, if you see this social networking, right? It is set to block, right? Okay, let's make it allow now first. Let's try to test test it. Like let's try to understand about this web filter profile based on this social networking. That would be very easy because we can use any of like destinations like facebook.com, Instagram, Twitter, something like that, because it's easy to understand. Okay, so if you see here, like we have social networking, this is one of the category. and the action item that is set to here, set for that is allow. Okay. So now what let's do. So before getting into other steps, and here, what let's do, let's first go to our security policy, the firewall policy, and associate this particular profile that we have created to it. LAN to WAN. What you can do, you can just add to here, and so earlier it was showing only the default one, right? So now it is showing our custom one that we have created. I just select it. If you want to use the antivirus as well, you can make it selected, or you can, if you don't want, you can disable it as well. So just to make it easy understanding, I'm just disabling it for now. But if in case you want to do it, you can just, or we can have it also. Nothing to worry. Okay. We were using earlier antivirus profile, right? Because we are not going to download any virus related content. Okay, we are just going to check the this one, like based on this filters, and from the logs we can identify like actually which one is triggered. Okay, so now we are going to see about web filter profile. All right, and also as said earlier, ensure that you have this SSL inspection also configured. So we have already done it. So I'm just selecting OK. So basically, I have associated the web filter profile to the existing one. Okay. All right. So now it's everything is ready from this side. And also as said earlier, let me go back here to the web filter. And this is the profile that we have created, right? And if you see social networking, okay. So this is what we are going to test, because obviously we have multiple things we can test it with either any of it, but as it's easy to initiate a traffic, like there are some known destinations, right? So that's the reason I'm just trying to test with it. So currently it is set to allow, right? So now let me go to this PC that is here. We'll open the browser and we'll try to access any of the social media like facebook.com. So it's working, right? And also you can use instagram.com. It's working. Twitter, it's working. It would work. Basically, these are all categorized as social networking, right? So we are seeing that it's working because we have set this profile as allow. Okay, so that's the reason it's working. You can just go to the logs here, logs and report, forward logs. So when we have anything that's blocked, we can also check in the security event. Even like if it's a pass through, you can just check it. Let's go here. So currently there is no trigger. Okay. But we have seen that it's working, right? Like maybe it's taking some time. Let me see if there is any session. You should be seeing session. Yep. If you see here, like, but basically these are all DNS. It's fine, but this is a 443 transaction, right? So this is it could be Facebook, I believe. Yeah, this is Facebook. This 34 network is Facebook, and we have something else as well. Okay. So basically, we have the session logs for it, and it's working. It's working because we have set it to allow. Okay. So let me do one thing. Like let me make block. So earlier it was set to allow. Now I'll put it block. Select OK. Now let me open it again also. I'll show you. Like if you see, it is set to block now, right? And this is the profile that we have called to our firewall policy. So now, like I'll just come back here and we'll just try to refresh it. See, FortiGate intrusion prevention. It's telling that the access is blocked, web page blocked. And what it is telling, you have tried to access a web page that is in violation of your internal usage policy. So category social networking, because in FortiGate's category, like filtering, it's categorized as social networking, right? And we have blocked it, and that's the reason it blocked. Like I'll go to Instagram, refresh it, it would come as blocked. Also parallelly, I'll just go here, refresh it. See, Twitter is also blocked. It's telling the same. You have tried to access to the web page that is in violation of your internet usage policy, because it's categorized as social networking and social networking is blocked. Let me try. All right. See, so Instagram is also blocked now because we have blocked it here. Now I'll just go here. Like you can just come to logs and reports, security events. So like that, it's not only about social networking. For an example, I have initiated traffic towards social networking, but it could be of anything. Like as shown, it could be an adult content, it could be a gambling, it could be whatever it is. Okay, it's completely based on your company's internal policy requirement. So it's still loading. Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking in the system event. I should look in the security events. It's showing zero event, but we need to see some events here. I don't know why it's still showing zero events. Mm, it's showing the world one. I don't need antivirus. I need to check the web filter, right? All right. Like earlier, it was set to pass through. That logs are available. Right. I think it's taking some time here. It's still not reflected here. All right. Now I make it as a local memory. And if you see here, like this is what it is showing. Earlier, it was passing through it, but now, like it's blocked. Okay, because we set that profile into block state. Okay, and that's the reason, like if you see for Instagram and for Facebook, when we initiate from this particular source 172.16.10.11, it is the action is set to block, and we are trying to this is the URL information, and this is all the category, like to what category it is categorized, the website is categorized. Okay, so this confirms that it blocked. Now let's go back here. So instead of block, if I make it monitor, now I make it monitor, right? Let me go here again. If I try to refresh it, it would work. Because I said monitor will not block anything. It will allow them to pass, but it will just log that. See, Instagram is also working now. Like Twitter is also working. Okay. Because I said we have set that social networking to monitoring state, because monitoring state will not block anything. I'm just repeating, monitor state will not block anything. It will allow the traffic, but it will log it that this particular user has gone to the site. Let me check whether it is available now. See, we are seeing some pass throughs because we are seeing this logs. Okay, it's telling that we are allowed, this particular user is going to Facebook, Instagrams, and Twitter, like everything. So whatever transaction that's going to the social networking, it is logging here. Okay, now I'll come back here. So we have seen about allow, monitor, and block, right? So now let's understand about warning. Okay, now I just selected this particular category and will change the action to warning. So when you click warning, like basically it's giving you a time interval, like it would pop up a message, but still it would you can proceed further, like you can proceed further and you can use it for certain hours or minutes, whatever you mention it. Like say for example, by default, like this warning is set to 5 minutes here, right? Like say for example, if you're putting 2 hours or 1 hour or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever time frame you're putting here, maybe for now I'll just putting it for 5 minutes. Okay, and select OK. So ensure that whenever you make any changes to here, we need to select this OK, only then it will get applied. Okay. So now it's in warning state. If I go back here, if I refresh it, we will get a blocking message, a warning message. Like I'll just show you. See, so FortiGate, intrusion prevention, access blocked. It's telling that web page is blocked. You have tried to access a web page which is violation of your internet usage. It is categorized this, but still, if you see, there is an option to proceed. But when I put in the blocking state, there is no option to proceed, right? If you remember, when I put it in the block state, it doesn't show me this option, right? But when I put it in the warning state, it shows the same error message, but it gives me a proceed button. So if I click this proceed button, it would proceed to that destination or that category, and like it would work for whatever exceptional minutes that we have given. Like in this case, we have given it for 5 minutes, right? So next 5 minutes it will work. Okay, and for example, if I refresh it here, it will work because already we have proceeded there for social networking, right? So it would work for 5 minutes. So whatever time frame that you have given, till that time frame it will work, and then again it would come back. So this is all about warning, and that's something like authenticates. It's little interesting, and I'll just show you like how authenticate works. I'll just put authenticate now, and it is same. Like it has the same warning interval. Like you can define some time frame in here, but in top of that, you need to give a user group to it. Okay, basically, like you are giving that option only to a set of specific users, not to everyone. Okay, uh, it could be any specific user groups from AD, or it could be any set of specific users from the local group, whatever it is. Okay, and if you remember, like in our local authentication video, we have already created a couple of users in the name of user 1 and user 2. We have associated that user under this group, right? Let's use the same user group here as well. I'm just using this user group. So basically, what does it mean? Like for everyone, it will throw that blocking message, but there would be showing in proceed button as well. You can click that proceed button, but if you click the proceed button, only the users that are part of this particular group are allowed to proceed further from there. If you're giving some incorrect username, or if you're users from a different group, then you are not authorized to go to that one, or you will not get this much time, whatever time you are accessing from here. Like say for example, if I'm giving 2 hours from here, like if you're part of this particular group, then they can proceed further, give their credentials, and then they can use it for 2 hours. Okay, or they cannot. Like for our example, I just make it as 5 minutes, which means post to authentication it will work for 5 minutes. Okay, now it is set to authenticate, right? Select OK here. I'll just come back. Let me just close the window, like because already it is in the 5 minutes exception, right? We'll open it. Okay, I think this is old one. This is still there. All right. Let me open browser one more time. Facebook.com. I said like due to that 5 minutes interval, it's not allowing. Um, we need to wait for 5 minutes. Let me try once with this incognito window, the private window, Facebook.com. Okay, it didn't block because we have set an exception to this particular machine. So let's check whether still it is in authenticate. Okay, it's still in authenticate. Let me select once again. Okay, but we need to wait because if you remember last time, for when we are understanding about the warning, we set it as 5 minutes, right? So it's still there. So the time frame is still there. So what I'll do, I'll just means pause this video for now, and let me resume it after 5 minutes, and we'll start to look on it. Okay. All right. So now it's more than 5 minutes. I have passed this video. I have just resumed it again. Let's go to our PC one. So this machine again, and we'll try to do it. Like try to access to the Facebook once again now, or any of the social media platform. So Facebook.com. See, now it's blocked again. Okay, because we have set it to authenticate, right? And also it's saying the same, like you try to access to a web page which is a violation in your internet usage policy. It is categorized as social networking. But as I said, there is an option to proceed. If I click this proceed, it would ask you the username and password. So you'll be seeing the same behavior, like you see also see the proceed button when you have the warning message as well. Okay. But while the warning action, like when you put the proceed here, it actually worked, right? It has taken you to the Facebook. But now, as it is an authenticate mode, you need to give the right username and password. That's part of that group. So we have created a local authentication group, right? A group with user group within the FortiGate firewall in the name of user one and user two, right? So let's give that. So the you and like if you give incorrect username, like I said, I have two users, that is user one and user two. I have already explained about it in the previous videos when we are discussing about local user authentication. Okay, you can refer to that if you have any doubt related to that. You can refer to that video. So now what I'll do, just to show you that if you give an incorrect users, it will not work. Or if any user that is not part of the called or mapped user group, it will not work. Like let me give, see, it's saying that invalid username and password. But at the same time, if I put user one and password here, see, it's working. Like post to authentication, it works because here we have an authentication profile, and under that authenticate profile, like authenticate action, under that authenticate action we have called a user group, which one, local user authentication. Okay, so based on that, when I give the right username, it take me further here. Now if I try to configure or access to any of the social networking platform, it will work directly because I have already given, like when I try for the very first time, I have already given means that username credentials, means basically the authentication is successful. So once it is successful, as per our policy, it will be valid for next 5 minutes. So that user is allowed to access for next 5 minutes, right? So that's the reason it's not asking for once again, like asking to put the credentials once again. It would work in that day. So we have seen about this one as well. um so now, okay, so this is how generally, like from this we have understood about how the sites are categorized here, and also we understood the different action items, like different types of actions that is part of this filter, right? So now let's understand about this one, like allow users to override block categories. Like what it means, say for example, where is the social networking? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's put this social networking into block state. Okay, because the reason why we are putting it to block state is like when you want to override, okay, it's for blocked categories only. So what it is telling, if any categories is already blocked here, okay, and if you want to override that, means when the user actually tries to access that, it will throws a block message. But for a specific users, you can override that policy and you can give them another policy. Okay, and based on that policy, you can allow it. Okay, for example, this is this particular one, like this custom profile is what we have cloned from the default policy, right? I'll show you. So this one, so we have cloned from the default policy, right? But if you look at the monitor all, everything is set to monitor only, which means it would allow everything, right? It would allow everything. So what we can do, like we can actually, in our policy it is set to block, right? But we can override to specific users and can give them other profiles like monitor profile, so that when other user is means like the user one, okay, if he is trying to access that, actually it will throw a block message, but it would give him an option to override that, and post to the successful authentication, a new profile will be given to that user, and as per that profile it is set to monitor mode, so he can access it and it would just log. Okay, or he can put him allow also instead of monitor. I'll show you how to do it. So I said the social monitoring is already set to block, right? You just come down, allow users means I'm just enabling this override one. And okay, by default, this is how it would look like. This is continuation of my old lab. By default, this is how it would look like. Okay, it would ask you to give the group. So basically what it is telling, you are asking me to override a block category. To which user I need to do it? Okay, I need to add the user group. Okay, if you have any AD groups or whatever group you have, you can add it. I'm just using this one, like the local authentication user group, which I have created here within this firewall. Okay, and what profile I need to give? Okay, by default, I'm just repeating, by this profile it is set to blocking. Okay, particular profile is set to blocking. But when any user that is part of this user group is coming, post to the authentication, for them which profile you want to allocate. Okay, let me put monitor all, or you can just create one more profile where you can put, allow all to everything, and you can put an allow all to them. So nothing that, like, it's about a duration, like how many days, minute, hours, and minutes you want to do it. So it's set to 15 minutes. Okay, let me just select okay. So now let me go here. So let's refresh. If you put Facebook, first it will block. Okay, see, it's blocked now. But there is an option to override. Okay, we have never seen this override option earlier, because this is the first time we enabled it, and especially override will work only on top of blocked one. Okay, so just select it. So once you select it, it will ask you to authenticate, like what it is telling. So it's saying that web filter block override, please contact admin to gain access to it. Like basically, if you have any username password, you can put it, right? So user one I am putting, because this is part of my local authentication user group. So I'm just adding the password of it, and scope, like this is the IP address of this client. And see, like for this user post to authentication, this monitor all profile will be assigned to them, and it is telling you would be given access for 15 minutes, because that's what it's shown here. Or if you want to make it to one day or 1 hour or whatever it is, you can just configure whatever you put here, that would shows here. Okay, so 15 minutes is fine. See, post to authentication, he is given access to it, because we were given a right credentials. So it override the existing block. Like actually, as per this policy, it is set to block only, but we have a override profile configured, and based on that override, it's given the access. So you can just come here, refresh it. Okay, see, we have pass through. Earlier it was blocking, then it's pass through. So we can see everything, like all the other transactions as well. So basically, if a transaction is passed, we'll be seeing as pass through, and if it's blocked, we'll be seeing that as a block. Okay, and to check, to get more informations, like you can just double click it, you'll be seeing at the other right side. Okay, with the time span, and session ID information, source port, destination port, source interface, destination interface, port informations, URL, protocol number. Okay, everything you'll be seeing here. All right. So what kind of a request it is, everything would be seeing here. All right. Then, like, you can just close this. And also, as said, if you want to create any static URL, like you have one destination, and you have some, it could be an internal application, but it depends on how the policy is written. Like if it's from internal to external, then it could be any URL at the external. Okay. So you can define, you can just enable it, you can create here, you can add that URL, like example.com. That's it. So when someone is trying to connect to this example.com, what you need to do, like either a low or a block or a monitor, whatever you can do it. And status of this particular filter is enabled. That's it. So like that, you can add a multiple static entries as well. Okay, even if some destination is not categorized here, you can directly add it statically. So that's what it is. And also, like I said, content filters also I have already shown. Like you can just create any pattern here, and based on your requirement, you can add a pattern here, and choose the language and set to either you can block it or exempt it. Okay, so this is all about uh, web web filters. Okay, we have explored in terms of with one category, but the way it works is common to everything. Okay, whatever we have seen, that's how it will work to all other as well. So I'll just make it to hello for now. Select OK. All right.